The day's other news now, and it's day 34 of the Birmingham bin strike, and there's no end in sight as the council and unions remain at loggerheads. Bin workers are striking for 3 hours a day over proposals to cut the number of workers on the bin lorries. The council say no one is being made redundant, but they'll have to change jobs. But for people living and working in the city, it just means that the amount of rubbish on the streets is continuing to pile up. Tonight, one community group has taken the matter into their own hands. Elizabeth Glinker is in Small Heath. So, what's happening, Elizabeth?
Well, Mary, as you drive around Birmingham, I mean, it's clear in many places you go, there are bags of rubbish, and that has all the associated problems with rats and other vermin. But here in Small Heath, one group, they're called Bearded Bros, have taken it upon themselves to start their own collections. We're going to be hearing more from them in a little while. But first, I've been getting up to date with where we stand with the current bin strike. The summer wears on, and in Birmingham, so does the bin strike. 5 weeks of delayed collections means some people are taking matters into their own hands. This community group in Small Heath is doing its own collections, and in Sturchley the queues at the local tip are now more than an hour long. But amidst the anger, there is some support for the strike.
These guys should get a grip and go back to work.
I support the bin men in what they're doing because we've got to make a stand against the cuts that have been made.
Well, I'm hoping that they get what they want so they can stop striking.
The most recent talks aimed at resolving the dispute ended in failure, and today the bin crews were back on the picket line. No one from Birmingham City Council was available for interview, but in a statement they told us they're working hard to try and clear the backlog from city streets. They also say that positive negotiations with the unions are ongoing, and they want to stress that there should be no job losses as a result of the changes. But the union representing the workers says the council's arguments are misleading.
These are jobs that neither you nor I would want to do. It's difficult jobs, manual jobs, heavy, dirty. My members deserve a fair pay for a fair day's work.
And yet Birmingham City Council is saying, look, we are offering those people affected jobs on the same grade. There was a jobs fair on Friday and Monday. Only a handful of the staff affected turned up. It looks like maybe your members aren't engaging.
No, it's simply not the case. Those jobs that the council have put on the table don't have the skill sets of my members. Look behind you. My members are bin loaders. That's what they want to do. People who work in other areas might say, well, look, if this wasn't a public service, they'd just be made redundant. These people are being offered another option. No, they wouldn't be made redundant. The job hasn't gone away. What the council is doing is reskilling the job in order to justify their downgrade, and in doing so, putting the safety of my members and the public at risk. If a compromise is not found, then the refuse staff say the current strike will continue into the autumn. Elizabeth Glinker, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
And while the bin strike continues, there's growing concern about the increase in pests and vermin attracted to the rotting rubbish. Pest control companies are busier than ever as the rat population is growing. Nicola Beckford has been investigating.
Laying their traps. As the bin strike goes on, scenes like these are likely to continue. And the longer these bags remain unemptied, the more likely they are to attract vermin.
We have seen an increase in call-outs to domestic properties and commercial properties for rats. We do expect this to actually get higher because of the rates of increase. The longer the rubbish stays there, the more likelihood you've got of the rats increasing quicker.
The union and council are still deadlocked. But what does this mean for the number of rats that could be on the city streets? Well, females can give birth to a litter every 21 days, and they can have up to 8 young. Once they're born, the females can breed again, and their first litter, well, they can breed 2 months later. Residents at this block in Kings Heath say they have no idea when their bags will be taken away.
It's been well over 4 weeks now. The neighbours had to get bleach because there was maggots crawling up the doorsteps. And we're just really fed up of it.
The City Council says it could be another 9 days before the backlog of rubbish is collected. A long time for people living next to these festering piles. Nicola Beckford, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
Let's go back to Elizabeth Glinker in Small Heath now. And Elizabeth, a community clean-up underway.
Absolutely. As we've just heard from Nicola, real problems involved with all of this rubbish, and people here have literally just decided to do something about it. Nav is one of the organisers. Nav, how did you persuade everyone to get involved in this?
Well, we've got our own group called the Bearded Brothers, and the purpose of the group is to deal with social issues, and clearly this is an issue, so we've decided to forget the councillors and come out and take care of the rubbish.
And you've got a really good response from people, loads of guys giving up their own time to do this.
Well, when your brother calls up, you don't let them down, and alhamdulillah they've come out. We've got children out here as well, so that nobody lets us down, but Bearded Brothers are here to help the community in any way, shape and form.
And as we've said, lots of horrible issues associated with having the rubbish on the street. What's been the reaction from the locals, from people? I mean, you're collecting their rubbish for them.
Well, first and foremost, my family says, "Are you bonkers? You want to clean people's rubbish?" But the response from the community is immense, that they're grateful that it's happening. So if you want this to happen where you are, like our Facebook page, that's Bearded Brothers, that's Bearded Bros with a Z. Like us, share us, and if you want us to come to your neighbourhood, let us know.
There you go. Thanks very much, Nav. Well, it really is community in action. You can see they're collecting rubbish. They've been doing this all afternoon. And if the bin strike continues, then perhaps we'll see a lot more of this on Birmingham city streets.
Elizabeth Glenker, thank you for that. And as you can imagine, we've had a lot of comments about this on our Facebook page. Here, just a few of them. Annette Dunbar says, "I hope the people of Birmingham get a reduction in their council tax. It's disgusting that it's come to this." Andy Smith says, 7 weeks and counting. How about a skip for the end of each uncollected road? And I do hope the rest ourselves. I hope that makes sense. And finally, Linda Robinson also got in touch to say, "Enough is enough. They've made their point. Now clean the streets up." A dog behaviour